who everybody is that's there? Hello?
If you are called upon by the president, Commissioner Chesick, or if you have a comment, he will ask who is
who everybody is that's
Yeah.
there? Oh, but you don't take attendance.
No, we do not take attendance. This is not a public hearing. If you are called upon by the president.
If that was addressed to me, I'm sorry I didn't get it.
Get there and early, do they? There's 18 people watching.
We'll call the meeting to order with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First up will be Territorial Engineering, Bob. Quote opening for the sidewalk project.
Holy knife, dude.
Oh, I'm sorry.
All right. I think. When I was outside, they said he was pulling in. I don't know if we really need him though, do we really?
No.
We can proceed without
Yeah.
him.
Yeah, we're just opening it up.
So this is the appointed time for the opening of the bids on the sidewalk project. Rachel, I got two bids here. Is this all we've received?
Yes,
And these were both received in a timely manner?
yes.
Okay, so I'll go ahead and open them now. The first one is from Mark Milo Enterprises, 5015 East 250 South, Knox. Sidewalk and drainage improvements, I should say, actually.
It's Kathy. There's some contractors outside trying to get in for the bid opening. I told them to go around the side door.
Should we wait for them? Probably should.
Did you hear me?
Yeah, we heard you, Kathy. Ryan's gonna check the door.
Okay, sorry about that.
No problem. I was looking for it anyway.
Bob Loy. Bob Loy's the one that texted me. Did you hear me? Okay, sorry about that. Bob Lloyd's not on the text.
I don't know, I went to YouTube.
This way? Nobody? There's
There's somebody there now.
Did you hear me? Okay, sorry about that.
Ah,
Bob Lloyd's not on the text.
so Bob, on this, I have, there's a bid package 1, 2, and 3. Should I read each one of those separately? And then the overall, or should I just do the one?
No, you can read that.
Each one? Okay. Bid package 1, drainage improvements only, bid summary. The total from Mark Milo Enterprises is $38,994. That's 38,994. On bid package 2, south half concrete sidewalk only. The bid summary is 48,000 even 48,000. That's bid package 2 for Mark Milo. And Mark Milo's bid package 3, all concrete sidewalk and drainage improvements. Bid summary is $114,894.47. That's 114,894.47. And that's the entire bid for Mark Milo Enterprises. We have one other bid, that's from Reith Riley Construction Company of LaPorte. For Reith Riley, bid package 1, drainage improvements only bid summary. The total bid is $70,310. That's 70,310, $70,310. That's bid package 1 for Reith Riley. Bid package 2 for Reith Riley is $55,785. That's 785, $55,785 bid package 2 from Reith Riley. And bid package 3 is all concrete sidewalk and drainage improvements bid summary. That's a total of $142,895, 142,895. That is all we have today.
I didn't hear the first number. Was that for the drain for Milo?
Okay, the very first one is
Yeah.
Mark Milo. Mark Milo, the first bid package 1. That's drainage improvements only was $38,994.
Okay, 38,994.
Yeah,
Correct.
Mark Milo, package
Okay.
1.
Okay, so let me make sure, is Bob Loy there?
Yes, he is.
Okay, Bob, on the drain, so we have 2 bids basically, one from Mark Milo, one from Reith Riley, is that correct?
That's right. Correct.
Okay, so it would be the drains for everything, right? And then the first bid is just the concrete for the south half, or is that for the drain and the concrete on the south half?
No, there's one bid for the drainage only. There's one bid for the south half concrete. And then there's a bid for the entire project, concrete and drainage.
So
All
Kathy,
the way around.
bid package 1 for both of them is drainage improvements only. Bid package 2 for both of them is south half concrete sidewalk only. And bid package 3 is all concrete sidewalk and drainage improvements.
I got a question for Bob. So
Yes.
the on these first two, the drain on the south side would only be half of of everything.
That drain is for everything, that's for everything, not just the south half, that's all the drainage on it.
It's all the drainage.
Because I figured you wouldn't want to do half the drainage.
So the 48,000, and the second part down would be, that's concrete for half, right? Or am I right?
South half
South,
concrete
south,
sidewalk
That's
only.
separate on the plan.
So if you did the whole thing, all the way around, it's 114.
Yeah, with drainage.
But once Milo got done with that drainage, we wouldn't need that for the rest of it. I mean, he would do the drainage for the whole thing. We wouldn't have to do a drainage if we only did half. We would not have to do drainage for the rest of the
So you
project.
do all the drainage, you either do all the drainage, all the south half concrete, or the entire project.
Yeah,
That's the way I understood how I was breaking it out.
okay. Which,
Well, I would say that if we're going to do this, it's probably more cost effective to do the entire thing.
yeah, looks like it. I mean,
Yeah.
we'll be all done. And
Yeah. Yeah.
and what do you think, Joe?
It basically makes that second half of the concrete $27,900 for Mark's bid.
Where's the funds coming from?
Kathy, where did we decide that possibly the funds would be from the two?
Kathy,
Yeah,
where's the funds coming, or where were we thinking the funds would have to come from for this?
fume cap. And we have sufficient funds in there to do this project. Even if we took the whole 114,000, and there was still funds left over that we had not asked the council to appropriate. And we just got another draw in with the November, December settlement. So if we expended that, we would not be overexpended. It would be what has already been appropriated. And there is more money in there that can be appropriated for next year as well.
Yeah, you do have the cash balance that you could pay for it, but you most likely are gonna have to do an additional appropriation next year, which it shouldn't be a problem at all with your cash balance.
To take care of the drainage problems.
Well, we better, if there's enough in there to do all of it. Yeah, might as well be done with the project.
The whole thing. We also need, we're gonna end up with a truck for the surveyor, but we'll get some back.
We need what? I can't quite hear what. We
Well,
need what?
we're also gonna need a truck for the surveyor.
Well, I think there's enough money.
Yeah, there should be insurance for that.
Yeah, that'll cover probably a
Quarter of it.
quarter to a third.
Probably.
But there's enough funds in there. There's enough.
Oh, pull fund balance right now.
I didn't hear what Rachel said.
She's looking up what's in there exactly.
Okay.
Roughly what that.
Your cum cap has a balance right now of $329,000. You're appropriated, you have about 139,000 to use this year, but most likely this project will not be able to be invoiced by the end of December. So that's why I say you probably have to do an additional appropriation next year, which shouldn't be a problem because you do have $329,000.
Right. You hear that, Kathy?
No,
You-
sorry.
Your balance in cum cap, like,
I heard that. I didn't hear what you guys were saying afterwards. I didn't hear that. Sorry about that.
I just asked if that, make sure that was the cum cap. Okay,
Well, move ahead with whichever bid you guys want to vote
I
on.
would, look at the Milo bid and do the whole project. $114,800.
It needs to be reviewed by the engineer before, you know, of course, that'd be subject to the engineers.
One thing I just want to mention real quick is that all this, they're subcontractors. And Milo's subcontractor on the concrete is Doug Allen.
But Doug Allen does excellent work. He did the monument. And,
Yes, he did.
Mhm.
Both those guys worked on the monument for free.
Yeah. You can come back to that, right?
But it's just, you can do it, actually, you can do it subject to the approval of the engineer on the review too. And typically, you know, it's not, there's no question who the low bid is, you know?
Yeah,
So
right.
it's really, you know,
You want to do that, make a motion, Brian, or Kathy?
Doing the whole,
Bob, do you have an idea when, I mean, would you be able to get it today
You
yet? Or
guys can make a motion to move forward, subject to my review on
Right.
those the best bid. I'm gonna put together a bid summary for you, so you can check all those numbers, just to verify that. And like I'm scanning through it now to make sure that they got all their paperwork in with it. And I would just issue a quick letter to you tomorrow morning that says, this is all in order, this is like this. And
treatment, the yellow's gonna be like behind
Well,
the.
that's all in the bid. We'll go with bid 3 pending Bob's approval of it.
Bid 3, this one here.
Yeah.
Yes, I'd make a motion when you go into bid 3, under Bob Lilly's, approval,
You're referring to Mark Milo's,
which Mark Milo's,
right?
which would total.
414,894.
Yes.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Next on the agenda was the planning commission, Stark solar rezoning.
Do we have a representative here from, for Stark Solar?
Yes, we do. Chris
Hi,
Shelmon.
Chris. Just want to check in, as I know you were fully planning on participating, but I wanted to, if the commissioners had any questions, as you know, they've requested additional time, and I don't think there's any problem with that. I'll just give you a quick summary that the way the rule is written, it's required that it come up at the meeting today, and in fact, you are complying with that, in my opinion. However, you also have 90 days in order to rule on it, so they're requesting that you don't get to the merits of it until there's been some additional work, which I think they're working on ironing out some of the issues, correct, Chris?
That is correct. Working with neighboring landowners and other stakeholders in the area, and certainly open to continuing a dialogue with all parties and commissioners as time progresses.
And we also discussed some of the issues that I raised with them, and so I think, you know, I think it would be a productive thing to do. That'd be my advice on for you.
There was some concern that perhaps the petition wasn't done appropriately. Have your concerns been satisfied, Marty?
Well, not yet, but we're working on that. That's one of the things we discussed today. to make sure that we're in compliance. And there's some, actually, Kathy, there's some additional paperwork that I hadn't seen yet, which does address some of that. So I have a little more to look at. Unfortunately, we didn't get everything that happened, in our file. So we'll get that. They don't give us very much time on these. So, but there is 90 days to rule. So that's all right. Does that answer your question, Kathy?
Yes, more or less, yes.
Yeah, okay. Well, it is sort of a more or less answer, yes.
Yeah, yes. Well, I think one of the biggest concerns was having those, nobody was concerned, I don't believe, about solar farms. I think that's the reason why we did the ordinance preemptively, so they would have an avenue to come into Stark County. And solar farms could coexist with our residents happily, supposedly. But it was very concerning to see that less than a year or about a year after we passed it, instead of following the ordinance, the choice was to just go around the ordinance and ask for a rezoning, which I find personally and as a representative of some of the people there distasteful.
You
But
bitch.
you bitch, I can hear you. And yes, I've been called that before. So that I find to be very, very distasteful. It's like the wild, wild west. You can't depend, if you can't depend on your rules for the other people. I mean, they're putting houses up there thinking that we're going to be following the rules. And so I would, that is a big major concern for me. However, I'm not going to be there next January. So I hope that everybody keeps that in mind, that there should probably be at least a 1 mile perimeter around our major lakes, because they are some of our best properties in Stark County, both Bass Lake and Coons Lake. And that ordinance was done with the intention of trying to make sure everybody was satisfied. Now I realize there's a lot of money that's being floated around and a lot of promises for things that may or may not be done. I hope for the people that aren't going to have a lot of money in this thing, that you keep in mind that their rights as well and their concerns as well.
I agree with that.
And to be quite frank, I've been called a bitch before, so that doesn't hurt my feelings in the least.
Sorry, I was talking to my dog.
Oh, I'm sure, yes.
So the issue at hand at this point is the request by Stark Solar to have some additional time before we get to the merits on this, to try to, like you said, to try to sort these issues out, including the procedural issues and also the substantive ones. Mr. Shelmon, is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. And I guess just one point of clarification, to the extent that it was implied that, petitioner and the landowners have tried to contravene the ordinance. I would note that we have not. We've followed the ordinance. We've requested a rezone. Ultimately, it does receive a recommendation from the Plan Commission, and rests with you to decide that. We hope to be able to continue to work with stakeholders and yourselves going forward before that decision's made. But we are following the ordinance, and with the help of Mr. Lucas, we plan on continuing to do that.
you want to, make a decision on whether to provide additional time or to go to the merits at this point?
I think additional time, right?
I say additional time on all the properties.
Yeah, whole property.
Well, they're all, that's actually a good point. In my opinion, well, that's actually something we have to clarify a little bit too. There's a couple of things that require some clarification procedurally, but just as a general proposition, the way the statute works is actually you are the ultimate decision. The commissioners make the ultimate decision. It's an advisory plan commission, and actually their ruling on it is purely advisory to your position, and what they're tasked with doing is conducting the hearings, making the notices, and then certifying that to you for the final decision. They make recommendations. So either way, or regardless of what happens with it at the plan commission, you make the final decision, and that goes both ways, even if whether they grant it or deny it or whatever they advise you to do on it, because it's really your decision.
Right.
I have talked to some people, and some have changed their mind whenever it does that against them. I don't know, and I'm not saying everybody's changed their mind. I'm just saying some have. And some additional time wouldn't hurt.
So when you make a motion to grant them additional time, right?
And Mr. Shelmon, do you know, we had discussed a little bit about whether you were looking, at this point it's a preliminary thing, but you're targeting the second meeting in January where this would come up for a final decision. Is that right?
That is correct, Mr. Lucas.
Okay. I don't know if I'm not saying you're committed to that at this point, but that's what the understanding is at this point.
And they have cut back some on how.
Yeah, that's one of one of the things they're talking about doing is paring back the request. Correct?
Correct.
Okay, and that once again, they're working on that. I don't want to, ask them to make a final decision at this point, but that's one of the things they're
That's why I
looking at
think we
doing.
need more time, find out exactly what the final's supposed to be.
So make a motion to allow them more time.
Wait till the meeting in January 2nd.
Second
Motion.
Motion, I'll second. All those in favor?
Right.
Aye.
I,
That's all we have to do with them, right? Correct?
That's correct, and anybody that may have responded here based on the notices required in the statute, this will come back up, and so I would suggest you'd watch the agenda notices. We expect it'll come up at the meeting that, I don't know what the date of it is. What's the second meeting in January? Does anybody know right offhand?
Yeah, I forgot.
18th, I think.
Sounds right. So that's when we expect it'll come back up, but it doesn't hurt to keep in touch. And of course, you can always check with the auditor's office if you have a question about when it's going to come back up. So I guess that's all on that today. Thank you for attending, Mr. Shelmon.
Thank you, Mr. Lucas. Thank you, board.
Thank you. Next up, EMS, Travis.
I'm here. This is marylynn.
Mary, yep.
I think, Rachel, you have my report.
Yeah, I handed it out to him.
Oh, okay, great. Okay. So it's pretty basic. You guys have been through it. If you look in November's column, you'll see that we actually had a few more runs than last month, like about 20 actually, or 30. So that's good. We're still at about 32%, 32% of our runs from the hospital on the transfers. So that's still good. On that page, is there any questions on that page, guys?
No, nothing on that.
Okay, then the second page is just like I always break it down, and that's just a running total of what's in the computer and how it takes it off and how old some of the invoices are. And then the bottom part is you could see where our revenue was. We were down, but actually what we were down was the least we've been down in months. It was $14,000. So it's pretty standard, what we've been doing along. But the one thing that we looked at today a little bit, I wanted to see the report that Travis gave you last week, the last meeting showed you like that. I think our best year without the transfer service was at like 859,000 without the transfer unit. So right now we're at 877 with the rest of the month, and we've been averaging $60,000 to $80,000. So we're hoping to get the revenue up by the end of the year to about 950. That's that's what our hope is. So hopefully we should be on track with that. That's all I have, guys. I don't know. Travis should be on there too, I believe. He's going to connect. There we go.
Yeah, I'm here. Everybody hear me okay?
Cutting out a little
You're
bit.
kind of like,
Sound like a robot a little bit.
Uh-oh, no. Can you hear me enough?
Yeah.
Okay. So nothing crazy this month. Operations wise, we continue to run smoothly. We still have the 4 ambulances operating out of the 3 stations, the 3 24-hour 911 trucks, 12-hour transfer unit during the day. Again, the transfer unit just keeps helping out tremendously, especially during the COVID pandemic, and the transfers that we're seeing, specifically the 11 that marylynn mentioned. I'm not sure if she mentioned it. I lost you guys for a second, but the specialty care transfers were actually up quite a bit. Those were the highest month I believe we've seen. So the specialty care is like the BiPAP ventilator, IV pumps. So obviously with the COVID comes along the more specialty care with the ventilation aspect of things. Personnel wise, it's been a challenge the last month. Our area obviously continues to get hit hard with COVID-19 still. We've had nearly half of our staff out on isolation in the last month. We still have that full-time EMT that I told you guys about last month out on injury. That was outside of the workplace. And she was hoping to be back by early December, and actually it'll be the first part of January now. We continue to be fortunate with everybody stepping up. And I just can't thank everybody enough from the office staff, EMTs, paramedics. It's truly been a team effort to make sure we staff everything well. I've been working the ambulances as needed. And then training wise, in-person training continues to be especially difficult during this time. We continue to postpone all in-person courses, such as the skills days. Again, I told you guys about the difficult airway classes we've had to cancel, as well as the cadaver lab with Memorial Hospital in South Bend that we try to do twice a year, where we can do some really neat skills that we normally can't do on a daily basis. Audit and review continues to be virtual. With LaPorte and Stark Hospitals, our medical director, Dr. Maravich, and our EMS coordinator. Our paramedics are still trying to get just as many continuing education hours as they can. Obviously virtual. We like to average at least 10 hours a month of opportunities. CPR has been especially difficult, especially for our fire departments, police departments, daycares, all the nursing homes that I normally help out with that. So I'm trying to set up some virtual classes for them, which is going to be kind of unique considering the skills aspect of things. But initially in June or July, they had extended everybody's certifications out until that point. And now they've stopped doing that. So you still need to keep up with those certifications such as ACLS, PALS, PEP, CPR. So we're trying to do the best we can to keep those people certified. Safety wise, we had an injury-free month in November. Ambulance maintenance, 4230, which is the 2019 Ford gas truck, received an oil change at the Knox Ford. Again, it's still under warranty. It also received caster bushings on the front end and 2 new front tires and an alignment. That work was done over at Sherwood Tire in Plymouth. 0514, which is our 2015 Chevy diesel stationed out of Medic 5. It received an oil change service at our county highway department. It also had the heat repaired to the rear of the ambulance. Fire service, which is where we purchased the ambulance, actually came and performed that work since they manufacture the wheeled coach ambulances. Unfortunately, when it comes to the back of the rigs, we have to go to a manufacturer. That's not something that a local place can do. I know we used to have Kerry out at the highway department that was really great with the back of the ambulance. Unfortunately, I don't think he's
I don't have anything. It all looked good, Travis.
No, I think you're really, despite the circumstances, Travis, and the current situation, I think you and your department have worked hard to continue to provide the service for the folks of our community, and you guys have done a great job.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Breaking up, Travis.
Actually, kind of another little stat for you guys. I was kind of going through some of the calls that we're responding to lately, and unfortunately, it seems like 80% of our calls. Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So, anyways, 80% of our it's kind of overwhelming our service when it comes to the crew. Did you hear all that?
Well, you cut out.
No.
All right. Well, that's all I had anyways. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Travis.
Thank you.
Rick?
Okay, our first part of the report, as we've been doing all year long, reporting on the MVH distributions and LRS distributions. We received pretty much a normal amount this last month. As you can see, last month, the total for the year was minus 5.71 in revenue from MVH. It's now 5.14. It's going to end up just about 5%, which equates to about $135,000 less than we expected to get. LRS is a little bit lower of a loss. It looks like it's going to end up at about 4.5%, and we're going to lose about $15,000. The good news is we were able to do our complete road program and then some, and also we're going to be adding on to our reserve budget for LRS and MVH by about $100,000 and LRS by about 50. So we were able to weather the storm as far as the loss to the COVID. Now, next, the gas tax loss. Now, next year's budget, we reduced it by $300,000. And last month, I was thinking maybe we reduced it too much, but now that COVID looks like it's resurging, we may have another loss on the gas tax. So we'll be in good position to weather any storm that comes our way as far as the budget for next year. The LTAP asset management submittal and PASER ratings, INDOT And Indiana requires locals to submit an updated asset management plan every year to be eligible for the next year's grant programs. I've been working on that in the last month, and we submitted it last week before the deadline. And LTAP facilitates this, and PASER ratings are part of that process. And I've listed the PASER ratings for the last 4 years. And as you can see, our poor ratings the percentage of poor roads has decreased, and the fair and good roads have increased, a fairly steady rate. Most of that has to do with our drivers working hard and doing their job. Also, though, I gotta say, there's some criticism of the gas tax from highway departments about having to allocate 50% of the money for preservation and maintenance. That's been difficult. But one of the good things is the requirement for this asset management plan, and they help monitor it with us. That, along with our hard work, has enabled these percentages to get better. Our percentages compared to the state average percentages, we compare favorably. In fact, I'll show that next month when I'm going to do a more in-depth review on the asset management. But this program has helped Indiana as a whole, the community crossings grants and the asset management plans. Last year, I don't know if you remember, but one of the national rating services rated Indiana local and state roads the best in the country. This program is one of the reasons why that has been happening. Not only is it happening in our county, Marshall County has improved, other counties around us have improved as well. So this has been a good program. And the PASER ratings, we do the ratings, but they are checked by LTAP. And I think Charlie may remember at the last PASER training he went to, the LTAP actually checked our roads before that training, and they made a comment that the roads they had checked have been very good, and all our ratings were matched what we had been saying. So that was encouraging, and we're looking forward to that in the future. And this PASER training and management has been a good thing for the county. Operations, November is a kind of a transitional month. We're preparing for winter. We conduct as much training as possible, and we've been hauling in a lot of material for next year's summer road improvement operations. By the end of December, early January, we may have all our material in. So that's a good thing. It depends on the weather, of course. So we're going to keep doing that. The bridges, Bridge 137, we have scored for the design on that. INDOT has requirements on scoring for the which consultant's going to get awarded the design. 3 consultants submitted. JPR, who normally does most of our bridges, they are not qualified to do a larger bridge, so they paired with Butler, Fairman, Seifert to submit for this bridge. That combination scored the highest. I recommend that the commissioners approve BFS and JPR as the designer for the Bridge 137, and that would require one of your votes, a vote of the board. Hello? I can't hear you.
I don't think anybody's talking.
Good. This requires a vote of the board to approve the scoring for the scoring. We went by INDOT criteria. There's not really much leeway in this. And BFS and JPR scored the highest on the scoring to be awarded the bridge design for Bridge 137. And the commissioners have to vote on that to approve that.
Well, then I'll make a motion that we approve JPR as the contractor to get the bid. Did you hear that?
Yeah, we heard the motion. Brian seconded. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. The other 2 bridges on there are in the process of being designed, and our bridge inspection results should be coming soon. The updated county map, we received the first draft of the map from WTH. We reviewed it from our department. Other departments reviewed it as well. Necessary edits were made, and we sent it back to them. We're awaiting the next draft. Community crossing grants, we were awarded $1 million in the beginning of the year. We only used $960,000 of that because of favorable bids. So we submitted for 2 smaller projects. We're waiting for the award announcement. I was notified a couple hours ago that award announcement will be made tomorrow by the governor. So we'll know that. INDOT call for projects. As you know, we're submitting for 500 North and Bridge 59. I also added the 300 East Toto Road site distance thing so we could make that a truck route on 300 East. So we're submitting 3 projects for the call for projects. One of them is in tandem with Hamlet. We will probably have to defend those applications in January or February and go up there and present. And then we will be awarded, we'll see if we get awarded those. But all 3 of those are good projects for the county. The driveway permits, Marty's completed the draft of the ordinance. We've just about finished reviewing it. We're creating a permit form to match, and we're going to send it to you guys. Should be ready for you guys to work on that in the next meeting. The signs, we're continuing the high reflectivity upgrades. We finished the stop ahead and the stop signs. We're just about done with the double arrows. The next ones will be the bridge markers and the curve chevrons. I believe these have significantly contributed to the reduction in accidents that we've seen over the last 4 or 5 years. We'll continue to do that process. Washington Township helicopter landing area, no parking signs. We installed the requested signs this month. All right, the auction completed on November 24th. After the auctioneer fees, the Highway Department received $27,094.77. This will go to the purchase of a new pickup that will, as per our vehicle replacement plan and our asset management plan, this will replace the pickup that was sold at the auction. The generator installation through the CARES Act, our new generator will be starting to be installed on Wednesday through Friday. That's a good thing for the county. We'll be able to operate even if the power goes out. We'll be able to be an emergency area for the county and keep the fuel pumps running. The CURPC grant for safety grant, we're going to meet with Edwin Buswell from CURPC on December 16th, and that's moving forward well, and we should get that grant for our next year. Facility upgrades, we are replacing 2 of our garage doors, bay doors later this month. We had one replaced about 3 years ago. The other 2 are getting bad. We have the money in our budget. We don't have to ask for any. We've already allocated for that. A US 30 coalition meeting will be this Friday, December 11th. I'm still going to those and monitoring it. We are kind of just biding our time. We have not paid the dues. They have not asked us for the dues again. Our training for this month, we had greater training and APWA accreditation meeting training. We've also been doing a lot of on-the-job training through the snow routes with our new guys. We have about 4 of them. We put them with Ralph and a couple of other drivers, and they have been working through their routes. The good weather has allowed us to do that. I attended an IHS meeting the other day. That's the Indiana Association of County Highway Engineers and Supervisors, and that went well, and we are involved in that, and we get a lot of good benefit from that for our county, especially when it comes to grants and connections with different people. On the last page, we have received all our quotes for the material prices for 2021. The good news is they're pretty much all the same as they were in 2020. 95% of the time we use the lowest bid. The circumstances where we would not is if there's no availability from that certain plant, or sometimes we've, as Rachel will remember, there's a quality of materials. If we're getting 11s that are pretty dirty and they're not very good, we may go to another plant. And usually when we do that, the plant that has the material that's not so good kind of fixes that problem, and then we go back to them. So, but 95% of the time we go with the lowest bid. Does anyone have any questions?
I don't. Anybody?
No.
Okay.
Thank you, Rick.
Yeah, thank you guys.
The claims payroll minutes here. There a motion to approve the payroll claims in the amount of $277,520.34.
Second,
All in favor? Aye.
I,
Is there a motion to approve payroll claims in the amount of $275,427.58?
Get motion.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Is there a motion to approve the vendor claims in the amount of $430,372.08?
So moved.
Second, Kathy,
Second. Yep.
all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Is there a motion to approve the minutes from Monday, November 2nd, 2020 and Monday, November 16th, 2020?
Motion.
Did you make a motion, Brian?
Yeah, he made motion.
Okay, I was not at that November meeting, so
Well, I'll second. All those in favor? Aye.
I,
We have a resolution for the certificate sale. This is just showing what's going to be on that, right?
There are about 15 properties that are gonna be removed that I emailed you about, but.
did you remove that one on 200 South?
The two that you guys wanted to take title to, you cannot take title to. I sent you an email about it, about an address discrepancy.
Oh,
You get that email, Kathy?
I don't recall, but I'm sure if you sent it, I probably did and probably overlooked it.
Somehow they put the address in the counties.
Yeah, come here, right?
Zilla, how the heck did they do that? You know, instead of keeping the same address. And it said we can't do it again for another year.
For another year. Well, I hope you guys get that done because I think that would be, something good for the county to do.
Yeah.
You straightened it out, right? You are straightening it out?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
So is there a motion to approve this resolution?
I'll make your motion.
I'll second it.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Then, we got, what's this, what, WKBI?
So, I sent you an email saying that Safety Awareness Act that they just came out with, Stark County has been allotted like $74,000. We have to, complete our, whatever we're gonna do safety wise to the public by December 31st, and we have to invoice it by December 31st. I had Marty look at it too, to make sure I was
Right.
understanding things correctly. I guess I want to know how much you want to spend in radio ads, like the, Kathy, I thought you were gonna be here tonight, so I didn't email this to you, I apologize.
That's
The,
all. I know what you're talking about. I remember that.
okay, I got a WKVI, proposal today for $30,000. It would run the ad, 80 ads per day, beginning tomorrow. It's about 2,000 commercials regarding like the safety measures the public can take to combat COVID.
Okay. Are we gonna do anything with the newspapers too, or?
I can look into, it's just, it makes me nervous. You know, we have $74,000 to spend. It just makes me nervous, spending all of it and possibly taking a chance of not getting reimbursed, I guess, since it's a reimbursement grant. But I did have Marty look over everything too, and I don't see any problems.
Always makes me nervous too, though. I don't know why they got to do that to just raise your stress level. I mean, we've never really had any trouble with those, have we?
No.
But you always worry that that's going to be the case. And I don't know, in this case, are these all canned ads or are these locally produced?
These are basically canned ads from the Association of Indiana Counties.
I wish we could have WKBI do ads with people that the public would recognize, because it just seems like it becomes very generic, and it's like the same thing they hear all the time. Whereas if they heard Frank Lynch going, look, we lost 18 people here in Stark County in November, I think that would have a way bigger impact on the people around here than just having another person come on, wash your hands,
Right.
I don't
mean to be cynical, but I just don't know if that's very effective.
Well, I don't see why we couldn't. I mean, there's nothing in that,
They may assume you don't have the capability, but WKBI could make ads.
Oh, yeah.
And I would, that's just all I have to say about it, is I think it'd be more effective if it had local people talking about local things. It just gets so generic and everybody doesn't even hear it anymore. Wash your hands, wear a mask. I mean, it's good advice, I'm sure, but I don't think it has much impact if it isn't brought home, I don't know.
I guess what
Well,
go ahead. I guess what I'm just.
Well, I think we could probably use those canned ads, or I'm sure they're going to give us a script.
Mhm.
And we could get somebody like Frank, or some of these people that have been affected and have really suffered, to voice the ads and make it their own, so to speak. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, and I think all I'm looking for is permission to spend money.
Right.
Or do you want to spend less? Do you want to, how much do you want to spend with newspapers? That's what I'm looking for.
Well, we'd have, and it has to be spent by December 31st.
Yeah, we have to actually complete all the ads by December 31st, complete any newspaper articles by December 31st, all your education to the public, so to speak, has to be done by December 31st.
And have you discussed any of that with Frank?
No, Frank's been busy.
Well, I've been volunteering 2 days a week in the health department to help him with the calls and that, so I know he's busy.
Yeah.
But here's the interesting thing. This comes up at a very good time. There was a back and forth discussion last night on Facebook about mask wearing and why some of the businesses don't follow the rules. And one of the people that was on there, aside from me, was Katie Bombaghetti Jordan, who is a registered nurse. That's Ted's daughter. And she also has worked in the health department to help Frank. And before it was all said and done, she suggested that there needs to be, to help encourage people to wear a mask. She was saying there needs to be some education, and I said, and there should be a task force of citizens, with the churches, et cetera, to try to get this done. And she volunteered to chair it. So I was going to bring that up tonight anyway, and she might be a good one to help with coordinating these ads that would help get some of that burden off of Frank.
Do you, like with WKBI and their $30,000 proposal, do you want me to tell them, okay, $30,000, you do this candid ad, but then you also work with this person, this person, this person to create personalized COVID safety ads?
I think they would do that.
Okay.
They make their own ads. They can produce ads, so I don't think that would really bother them.
That'd be more realistic doing something like that, so.
I just think.
Yeah, I like, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think Katie, having worked in there for a couple of weeks to help Frank out, she's very knowledgeable about COVID and, what the guidelines are and what it takes. And she's had occasion to talk to some of these people, as I have. I mean, some of the things they tell you are just kind of heartbreaking. And some of them have terribly suffered, and some of them have not suffered hardly at all. Some of them end up in the hospital. So, we had 18 deaths in the month of November alone, and it was very, very sad.
I heard one of these ads on the way home. They played an ad tonight, and I didn't pay attention to it. At the very end of the ad, they said sponsored by Stark County government, and maybe a personalized one. I probably would have paid more attention. But they actually played one tonight on the way home, about 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
Well, I agree with you 100%. So I would say, I am okay with moving forward with the $30,000 and expecting it to be reimbursed by the state. I mean, they made the offer, and we took them up on that. So I would be surprised if they took it back. And I think WKBI can help us get some personalized ads together, maybe from some of the patients that are willing to talk about it. Frank, Katie, I think it'd be great.
Okay.
So I guess I'm willing to make the motion that we move forward with the $30,000 on the WKVI radio ads, see what we can get, maybe a couple of newspaper ads as well. We could discuss those if we can get them in by the end of the year as well.
Okay.
Those probably would have to be canned though, because they got to be laid out.
Second. Brian, second. All those in favor? Aye.
And what do you guys think about, I haven't talked to Frank and to Dr. Brown about it, but they both like her and have worked with her about having her work with the health department as a volunteer. She's volunteering to do this. And WKVI and some folks in the group to see what they can do about improving folks wearing their masks in public, et cetera, et cetera.
Anything to
Yeah,
try to help, ain't no doubt, whatever it takes.
Yeah.
I'll take that as a consensus of all three commissioners then. And I'll talk to Katie about it, and I'll talk to Frank and Dr. Brown about it tomorrow.
Yeah. All right. Sounds good. I guess we gotta talk a little bit about we got a couple of quotes here for a pickup. I guess it would be for the surveyor. We all know what happened there. Let's say there's 2 Ford quotes and a Chevrolet quote. Team Chevy. One's from Team Chevy. Looks like a 2021 Silverado half-ton, full drive, basic is all they are. So that's $33,496. The one from Ford here in Knox, well, they're both from, there's two Ford quotes, but they're two different options, I guess, on the trucks. One's a super cab and one's a crew cab. Because I guess the Chevy one would have been a lot more than that, what these are compared to it, but the 2020 Ford crew cab is $30,867. It's four-wheel drive V6. That's what they all have. Then the other one is a 2020 Ford F-150 Super Cab. That's $29,435. So there's only what is that? 1,400 difference between them Fords. Because the Chevy one, I guess we put that one out. That's too much for a regular cab.
Is the $29,000 vehicle, is that a brand new one?
Yeah, these are all brand new.
Okay,
The at 29's a bit,
2020,
yes,
Super cab, like a cab and a half.
yeah. Yeah, they're 2020. The Fords are 2020, but that Chevy's a 2021, which I don't know. But it's 33,000, almost 35, or 34,000, sorry. That's just,
yeah, but just strike that off.
yeah, that's too much for that type of truck, I think, but
Yeah, I think so too.
so I think for
Do we-
that 1,400, we go with the crew cab, but if it's gonna be around a while, that's the thing, so I want
Yeah.
something, you know, if it's gonna be here for 10, 20 years. That's what we
Yeah.
have to get, so.
Yeah. Well, the last one I think was a 2009.
The 9 or I can't remember what year
It
that
was
is.
old sheriff's vehicle.
Yeah, it was the old sheriff's vehicle, so
Right. I'm pretty sure it was a 2009.
yeah,
Because I was a commissioner when we bought that.
Right.
So,
I think it has
2009, so.
almost 60,000 miles on it probably now, or so it's up there, but. So whatever,
Well, it would, if it wouldn't have got wrecked, it'd have lasted longer, but.
right,
I
right,
mean,
yeah,
what happened, so.
yeah. Yeah, it would have been a while longer, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get 8 to 10 out of the insurance.
I would hope. That's, I mean, we've come to agreement on one of these Fords, which I would say the crew cab, it's just 1,400, and then we get the insurance money, which I would hope that's enough. I think we can probably, with the insurance company, have probably, you know, they'll have to come to agreement with us what we want to get out of it, I would say. But
The insurance is picking up the truck Wednesday.
okay, so we'll know something then probably.
Yeah, there are
Others. On this one. Showing. Hopefully it's not gone.
Well, in the meantime, I think we have to buy something. What's he doing currently?
Driving his personal truck, I guess.
His personal truck today.
Okay.
I'd
I
say
make
we,
a motion that we go with the Hot Monday Ford. One is for the crew cab, $30,867.
And that's like Monday and Knox, right?
yeah,
I'll second that.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That'll come out of team cap. You got anything else, Brian? Oh, and then, we got, I guess, discuss a little bit more about the county closure. I think we want to go ahead and keep it closed to the public for another, till the next meeting at least. We can discuss it again then like this.
Still do by appointment.
Yeah, still do appointments. I think don't have a great risk then with, you know, the public coming in.
you, Kathy. Thank you for all you're doing
Yeah.
for the health department and everything. Really appreciate that. And, you've been one heck of a commission.
Oh, well, you know, as a former nurse, I wanted to do something to help with that. And I knew Frank was really at his wit's end, but there were so many cases. So I decided to offer him some help. He does have someone that he did hire for 2 days a week. So I try to go down there 2 days a week myself and work until all the phone calls are made and documented. And when you're an old nurse, it just kind of comes back easy, I guess. I don't know.
Well,
Once a nurse, always a nurse, I guess.
Well, thank you, Kathy, for
But
that.
I will continue to do that until the COVID crisis gets done. So after the first of the year, Marty, you probably need to check on volunteer insurance or something to make sure I am okay with, to continue to volunteer to do, because technically now I'm covered as an employee, even though I don't get paid for that. But I want to continue to help him. So. It's sad. I tell you, it's sad to hear some of them.
You got anything else for us, Kathy?
Yes, I do want to, I know Anita had asked me about the courthouse renovations and how those were going. And we have had a couple of meetings. The biggest problem, we're not going to be done at the end of the year. The biggest problem isn't coordinating work or, getting them up there to do anything. The biggest problem is sourcing materials. And for example, like the chairs for the courtroom and the seating for the courtroom, et cetera. And it's all being impacted by the COVID. So we're having delays in some of the materials being shipped. But what has been done so far is just very, very nice. And I'm not sure exactly. I tried to get them to give me a more definitive time frame, and they said they just can't because they don't, they keep getting the delays from the shipping companies on various items. So I think the courtroom seating is the last thing to be held up, and that is I don't know if that will come in before the end of the year, if it'll be after the first of the year, but hopefully it won't go on too much longer. But we're shut down anyway, so
Right.
it's a perfect time for them to get in there and work.
Well, hopefully it comes out, in soon. So that's all.
Yep.
Is that all you got, Kathy?
Yeah, really, that's all I have.
Okay. Marty, you got anything?
One thing I do want to bring up is the handbook. We've kind of got the handbook drafted through all the vetting
Right.
process. And I talked to Rachel about it earlier today, and we both think that it'd be nice, if possible, to get that into effect. It's shown as the 2021 handbook, and I'm sure that there'll be more things come up as of after we actually come out with it. But I think the design seems to work pretty well. We found a way to put all the different rules together into one package. It isn't too horribly long. So, and we certainly encourage everybody to look at the draft. There's only one thing I plan to add to it, which is just an addendum that will summarize the 207K, I think that's the section, rules for the uniformed officers, but that isn't really part of the handbook exactly anyway. I think I should add it. Otherwise, if everybody has a chance to look at it, maybe think about having it on the agenda for the next meeting to adopt for next year.
Sounds good. Rachel, you got anything? Does anyone else have anything for us on Zoom?
Well, they're all muted, so I don't know if they can talk or not.
Yeah. Well, they can unmute themselves if they got anything, I guess.
Oh, okay.
Is there anyone on Zoom that has anything for us? If not, we're gonna make a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.